All right, this first lecture I'm going to title Why Study Religion? Now, let's just start with a question. Why would you want to study religion? Ask yourself the question honestly and try to come face to face with the question. Think about it for a second for yourself. Why would you want to study religion? Now, I understand that there are people in this class who will say, this is a class that I'm taking for it's a requirement for my major, and I don't have an active interest in it. But let's set it for aside. Let's set that aside for a second, and let's assume that there is somewhere in you an active interest in the topic, and ask yourself the question: why would you want to study it? Well, I have a couple answers. To me, it's interesting, and if I ask myself, well, why is it interesting? It's interesting because it's important, would be one answer. Okay, well, you could ask, in what way is it important? And I think here is where I think we stumble upon the first sort of significance of what religion is. It's an understatement to say it's important. It is massively important and that's maybe not the quite an academic way of saying it, but it's extremely important for the world that we live in. This is actually I'm going to highlight three different religion, and they're all kind of subsumed under the category of that it's important. And the first one is, well, you can't really understand the world too well if you don't understand religion, and that's just true. You won't do very well if you read the news and you trying to understand different maybe internal dynamics of societies that have a religion that you don't understand very well. You are going to you're going to have some pretty serious misunderstandings of world events if you don't have somewhat of a grasp of different what the different religions are about, and sort of how they are broken up, and what their claims are. So, also going back through, so understanding current events is a essential. Let me back up. It's essential to understand religion if you want to understand current events. Now, you might also expand that and say it's essential to understand who we are as humans. Understanding what religion is essential to understand what we are as humans, is what I mean. So, going back all the way to cave paintings, for example, or some of the earliest human records, those suggest that a lot of those have suggestions of kind of maybe mythological or religious significance. And so, all the way back to the beginning of human history, religion is perhaps a part in understanding those moments in human history. One has to come face to face with religion and understand its significance among humans or on humans. Also, well, I could get into this. Okay, let me just skip this. I'll go on to the second one. Yeah, you live in a country, if you live in the United States, and you do, you live in a country that has a significant amount of diversity. So up in Toledo, there's the mosque, I believe, in Perrysburg, right on I-75 that you pass. This is just one massive symbol of diversity in that community. But it doesn't take too much. I mean, just drive around any big city and you'll see temples and different, religions, different groups of people that you've maybe never seen before. But these are people who live amongst us, and we need to be able to understand one another. There's all kind of connections here between having a flourishing democracy and becoming an informed citizen. So the more we know about how other people do things and why they do things, the better our democracy will be. And I believe that. So that's just sort of, that kind of ties in with the first one here, just why religion is important. You can't deny that we live in a country that is very diverse, and understanding more about that diversity will increase your what's the term I'm looking for, increasing your religious literacy will help you become a more informed citizen, and if then you'll have done your part in helping to create a flourishing democracy. So those are large claims, but this is what I believe is at stake in the study of religion. And the last one is you can understand yourself better. You can attain a greater self-understanding the more you study religion. And this is because religions, two reasons. One is, even if you're an atheist, someone who does not believe in supernatural forces or believes that there is no God, you will have a greater self-understanding, if only because the society that you live in, the social structures and the social views are largely constructed of religious values. So understanding how religion functions, especially the dominant religion in your society, you will have a better understanding of where your values come from. And this is actually the sort of project that one of my favorite philosophers embarked on. You might have heard the name Friedrich Nietzsche. 19th century, was it 19th? Yeah, a 19th century German philosopher whose task was just this, to understand how Christianity played a role in influencing the values in Western society. And so he, I believe, was aided by having a clear view of how his religion influenced his society. And if you are religious, you will have a greater self-understanding by studying religion, because religions are phenomenon that help to give people tools for answering philosophical and metaphysical questions. So questions like, what is the meaning of life? What is what is good and what is evil? Those things religion can give you a kind of lens to look through. So you can attain a greater self-understanding through the study of religion. So essentially, these three that I've listed, these three reasons for why you would want to study religion, are all subsumed under the category of that it is with the increase in understanding, you can make yourself a better citizen in the world, and you can make yourself you can sort of iron some topics out in yourself to be a more complete person with a greater self-understanding as an individual. Okay. So I think what I'll do is stop here. My goal is to make these audio clips about 10 minutes in length, because I've done a little bit of research on the average attention span for college students, and it's about 10 to 18 minutes in length is what it seems to suggest. So with these audio clips, my goal is that you could listen to one, and then you don't need to listen to the next one right away. You can wait a couple days, or you could listen to the next one right away if you feel that's what you are able to do, and that you'll retain the information that I put forward in it. But go at your own pace. The only thing I suggest is that if I give an announcement at the beginning of the week that says I need you to listen to these 3 lectures by the end of the week, that's the deadline for having done that. But other than that, you can sort of go about it at your own pace and listen to them multiple times or what. So just as a recap, why study religion? My answer to the question is that there's 3 reasons. 1, understanding religion helps you understand the world. 2, you live in a country with significant amount of religious diversity. And 3, you can attain a greater self-understanding through the study of religion.